Okay, I'm trying something a little different this morning. Got a old cell phone that I'm trying to use to record on. What I wanted to do was go a little more into detail about how I use the Eileen Hull journal die, which is her large die, but it's also similar in size to a traveler's journal die. So a lot of times that's what I refer to it as. And I just wanted to show the different ways that I create the different spine thicknesses. Now, when I make this journal, I don't make it where the spine becomes broken or rounded per the actual die cut if you were using the mat board, because I use chipboard or a heavy, it's like a poster board, but it's called a heavy art board from Walmart, and it's a little thinner than the 22-point chipboard that I use, but by the time I layer on it, double it up in some ways, it becomes very durable, and I've done lots of different books with it, from this size down to just little bitty ones that I make. So this is using the die with what I refer to as the full spine width, which basically means you're taking two of the die cuts, you're butting them up together like this, and then adding a layer over the top of that so that you get that full 1.5 inch width. This width is 1.8 inches, which is what you get when you layer just the first scored section on top of one another. This is what you end up with. This thickness is 3/4 inch, and that's what you get when you layer both spine sections on top of each other. And then you'll notice I cover everything again with more cardstock, so you're not going to see any of those score lines or those holes. This one, which is a 3/8 inch spine, is what I get when I remove these two outer edges and only line up that center, or, well, this would be removed, so then this would become the end, but I only line up this spine section, because each of these little sections are 3/8 inch, so it makes kind of graduating it down in size super easy and simple. But this is how I create the different spine widths for depending on what I want the book to become once I'm actually working on it. So this then is another option for creating a small book using just one of the die cuts. And here I've just added my little stacked pages to this one. I'm going to do something with this book. I just haven't gotten that far with it yet. I've made the cover from watercolor paper. I reinforced the spine with a piece of the 110-pound cardstock that I use. And then I made my inner page sections from the same white 110-pound cardstock. In this one, I've already gone back and added a layer of patterned paper because I wanted to use this particular wood grain look because it was lighter, because I want to keep this book with a lighter feel and not get too dark with it. And the way you achieve that is you take one cover piece, you cut it exactly in half, which is what I've done here, and then you do the exact same thing with the spines using the two pieces, because you've cut the piece in half. You would go back and you would round these corners to kind of match these, and any 1/4 inch corner rounder is going to give you something that's going to be comparable. And if it doesn't, just go back and round the bottom one just so that they match completely. But you can do the spines the same way. You can butt them like this. You can layer just one, or you can layer, once you remove that first 3/8 inch section from both, then layer it to that scored line section there, and it's going to create the different thicknesses. So with this book that I was working on, this one uses the spines layered, on top of each other, so it's a 3/8 inch. Same thing that I did here with this book. These are just alike. The only difference was what I put on the insides of the book. But same premise. Now, this particular one, it's the same half-size book. The only difference is I used the covers like this, butted up together. Oh, let's see. Flip them over the right way. Butted up together and then just relined, you know, the inside and outside spine so that I got that full 1.5 inch width. Then in this particular little half book, I just did a different page element. I took my same stacked spine pages and just created a different page element for the inside of the book. This is one that I'm still working on because I actually made 2 of these and one I gave as a gift. This is the full size journal and all I did was butted the spines together, added a piece over the outside and over the inside to reinforce the spine. Now this one is cut from that art board that I got from Walmart, which is going to be a little lighter than the 22-point chipboard, but it was white and I wanted to start with a white base just because I was going to do the snowman effect and not have to cover the brown, you know, of the chipboard. But when I make my next one, I am going to do that. I'm just going to use the gesso and cover it because this was actually still base coated with gesso just to give it a little bit of tooth. I just haven't decided what sort of page element I'm going to use in this book yet. But the covers will be reinforced with pockets on the inside, so that's going to add some extra strength and durability to that particular little book. But that can be just some of the differences in the sizes to the spine for the Traveler's Journal size or Eileen's larger journal size die.